Good afternoon. It's Thursday, September 13. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. If you're watching online, a special welcome to you at onespotmedia.com. At least 16 persons, including 7 children, have been left homeless after an early morning fire at the intersection of Duke and Sutton Street in Kingston. TVJ News understands that the fire started about 8:15 this morning. Smoke nuisance from the fire has also forced 2 schools close by to be evacuated, while a section of the St. Aloysius Primary School was affected by the fire. Up to news time, there was not much details on what caused the blaze. There were no reports of any deaths or serious injuries, and we will have more details on this fire in subsequent newscasts. Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Daryl Vaz, says action will be taken to improve the air quality across Kingston. Mr. Vaz was responding to the findings of the air quality report released on Tuesday by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. TVJ's Shamela Pullen reports.
NEPA's study was conducted during and after the Riverton City dump fire, which blanketed the corporate area with smoke for several days last month. Among other things, the study concluded that the fire at the Riverton disposal facility resulted in deteriorated air quality that affected southern St. Andrew and Kingston, as well as sections of southeastern St. Catherine. It also found that elevated levels of certain gases and particulate matter could have negative implications on the residents' health. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Daryl Vaz, said the government will be taking steps to improve the air quality around the capital. Mr. Vaz said the measures will also address the issue of the 1.5 million tires that are currently in and around Riverton City Dump.
New arrangements for the disposal of tires, which will include the shredding of those tires. And those negotiations continue. It will be a PPP, and we are looking forward to working.
Mr. Vaz said as soon as that is concluded, it will go to Cabinet, after which a definitive announcement will be made.
So some of them take a little longer because you don't want to put a Band-Aid on it for it never to be dealt with once and for all. What we are looking is for holistic solutions to deal with these issues that have been nagging and burning for decades, not years, decades.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
The Andrew Holness-led administration has signaled that work is to begin soon on the Morant Bay to Port Antonio leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. The $384 million project entails rehabilitation of the 110-kilometer roadway between Harborview in Kingston and Port Antonio in Portland.
$13 million US will start in the coming months, and that will be the Yallas Bridge to Loudon Hill St. Thomas at a cost of almost $5 million US, 6.72 kilometers. Loudon Hill to Pamfret St. Thomas, approximately $3 million, 4.9 kilometers, and Drapers to Port Antonio, 9.52 kilometers at a value of $5.2 million US. That would be 3 of 15 packages.
He also provided an update on the Maypen to Williamsfield leg of Highway 2000.
So it's not just about the South Coast Highway improvement, which is Harborview to Port Antonio. In this, there will be that as well, and I would expect that. I understand that the design work, now that the loan is in the final stages of the terms and conditions being agreed, the timeline for the design of the Harborview to Yallas is 6 months by the engineers and the construction company, and the Maypen to Williamsfield, all of that has been done already, so we'd expect that to start in 2019.
Mr. Vaz was speaking during the post-cabinet press briefing yesterday. The Ministry of Transport says it will be offering 200 sub-franchise licenses in Kingston and St. Andrew. Minister of Transport, Robert Montague, says the move is to reduce illegal taxi operations in the corporate area. He says it is also aimed at increasing the number of public transportation vehicles available to commuters. However, Mr. Montague did not provide a timeline for issuing the license. He was speaking at a recent JLP conference held in Port Antonio, Portland.
And anytime police are work on the road, you as hard-working people who don't own a motor car have to be walking because the man them are run illegal. We're not opening up Kingston and St. Andrew, but we're going to offer 200 sub-franchise licenses into areas into Kingston and St. Andrew that the JUTC don't go. It is full-time. It is our responsibility to stop make people run illegal taxi and make them into legal businessmen so they can develop this country.
The Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students, JUTS, says it's standing in solidarity with the University of Technology UTech Students Union by echoing the call for students to be compensated for lost class time. On Tuesday, members of the University of Technology Academic Staff Union called in sick in a bid to further amplify their concerns about the government's failure to make salary adjustments despite an agreement. Approximately 30 classes were disrupted because of the protest action. In a release sent Thursday morning to TVJ News, Director of Communications at JUTS, Jevon Reed, called on the government to resolve the issue urgently. Now, opposition spokesman on youth and culture, Damian Crawford, says should the People's National Party win the next general election, it will be changing the high school system from 5 years to 7. This as he believes many students leaving high school are not fully prepared for tertiary institutions.
We are now sending home 16-year-olds without a subject and without supervision. Why would you send a 16-year-old without supervision because his mother gonna work and without subjects?
He points to the recent controversy involving students being expelled from the Calabar High School because of low grades.
We have now in Calabar some youth where them are kicked out in 10th grade for the simple reason so them lose motivation because in 7th grade they were in the top 10% of Jamaica. For pass common entrance or GSAT for Calabar, a bright boy.
Mr. Crawford was speaking at a People's National Party delegates meeting in St. Elizabeth this week. And Education Minister Ruel Reid says the ministry will continue its sensitization program for the primary exit profile PEP, which replaced the grade 6 achievement test, GSAT. Speaking at the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday, Mr. Reid told journalists that they have visited several schools to listen and address the concerns expressed by teachers. And according to the minister, their efforts so far are working.
The printed material from publishers in terms of the workbook are now being available at the end of this week. Printed material in terms of the curriculum that was raised, all of that were printed and distributed. All of that is already online. We have said we will further bolster that. We'd have an exclusive website for PEP, so it's going to be resources for teachers, for principals, for students, for everybody.
A technical team from the Ministry of Education will also be going into schools and assessing those that need additional support.
We are very confident that with a partnership with the JT and the teachers, all will be well at the end where PEP is concerned.
The Joint Health Ministry European Union program to reduce maternal and child mortality rates in Jamaica, PROMAC, took another leap this week. This with the official groundbreaking ceremony for 3 more high dependency units, HDUs. These are to be constructed at the Bustamante Hospital for Children and the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston and at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. The units are being funded as part of the EU's €22 million donation to local PROMAC projects. When completed, they are expected to improve newborn and emergency obstetric care as well as primary health care services for high-risk pregnancies. At Wednesday's ceremony, European Union Ambassador to Jamaica, Malgorzata Wasiluska, explained that while the units will provide the infrastructure, more needs to be done to effectively impact newborn and maternal health issues.
Awareness raising, education. Minister often quotes quite quite horrific and moving examples that there are still too many women who only see the doctor for the first time during their whole pregnancy when they deliver a child. So why is it that they don't seek examination and medical assistance to reassure themselves that their child is healthy and that everything is going well?
The big component to my mind of the program, the one that I really think I admire and think is critical, is the human training component. Because again, my experience tells me that you can build buildings, as important as they are, if you don't have the equipment and the people to manage and to coordinate and to get the maximum return out of that type of investment, then nothing happens.
The construction is being done by M&M Jamaica Limited, with completion expected next year. Ground was previously broken for 2 other HDUs at the St. Anne's Bay and Spanish Town hospitals. And we go on to news overseas. A massive Category 2 storm, Hurricane Florence, is barreling towards the southeast coast of the United States. It's expected to linger over the Carolinas and bring devastating rain and possible flooding. 4 states, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, are now under a state of emergency. The details from the CNN.
We are on the wrong side of this storm.
Strong warnings from authorities up and down the Carolina coast. Officials are bracing for impact as Hurricane Florence barrels toward the coast.
This is going to be, a Mike Tyson punch to the Carolina coast.
Long lines wrapped around gas stations as thousands of people heeded evacuation orders. Law enforcement kept traffic flowing away from the coasts on Wednesday, just one direction on some major thoroughfares. But as people flee the region, first responders are getting in place, and authorities continue to urge the remaining residents to get out.
Don't expect first responders to be able to get to you during the storm if you decide to stay.
A forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center extends from Virginia to Alabama, putting more than 25 million people in her vast reach. Forecasters warn Florence's greatest threat may come after making landfall. It's expected to slowly crawl up the coast. Some areas will see damaging rain and hurricane-force winds for more than 24 hours.
Understand that the rain may last for days and will be measured in some places in feet and not inches.
And still overseas, police in California, USA, are investigating a mass shooting. Authorities say the gunman killed himself, but not before killing several other people. More from the CNN.
Many questions remain after a shooting spree in Bakersfield, California.
We have 6 people dead, 5 victims and 1 suspect.
Kern County authorities say trouble started shortly after a man and his wife arrived at a trucking business. The suspect fatally shot a man at the business and then killed his wife. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood says another person came onto the scene and was chased and fatally shot by the gunman.
Suspect then left the area and went over on Breckenridge Road, where he went to a residence and confronted 2 more people, where he shot both of them.
After that, the man hijacked a car with a woman and child inside. They were able to escape. A deputy pulled over the suspect and confronted him.
And the suspect put the gun to his chest and killed himself.
Authorities are looking at multiple shooting scenes and interviewing dozens of witnesses.
I'm pretty comfortable there will be a connection between all of these players.
And we go down to sports. The Jamaica Tallawahs were eliminated from the 2018 Caribbean Premier League after going down by 2 wickets to the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in a pulsating second eliminator at the Province Stadium in Guyana on Wednesday evening. The Tallawahs first posted 191 for 5 after being sent to bat. They were led by Glenn Phillips, who cracked his second career T20 century, 103 off 63 balls, including 9 fours and 6 sixes. Ross Taylor also scored 33 and David Miller 19. Ben Cutting took 2 for 45. In reply, the Patriots, needing 14 runs off the last over, got their target at 193 for 8. Anoj Devchich cracked a man of the match 50 of 23 balls, including 5 fours and 2 sixes. Captain Chris Gale made 26. Rovman Powell, who was entrusted with the final over, bowled 4 wide deliveries to end with 1 for 16, while Ich Saudi grabbed 3 for 36 and O'Shane Thomas grabbed 3 for 45. The Patriots will now face defending champions, the Trinbago Knight Riders, on Friday in Trinidad to decide who faces the Guyana Amazon Warriors in Sunday's grand finale. And that's the Midday News. I am Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.